Welcome back to Ask Uncle Lee Wednesdays. If you are watching this a week in advance, then that probably means you are a supporter and you have joined up as a member, and I thank you for that. So I've started doing this just in case you're confused why you're getting like all doubles this week. Okay, anyway, let's get into the questions. As per usual, if you've got any questions, anything you need assistance with, anything you want a different perspective on, just leave the question in the comments to one of the Ask Uncle Lee video. We'll add it to the list, but let's do the intro and then get into the questions. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Alright then, so the first question is from Yuli T1724. I know who this is, Yolandi. Why are mirrors seen as portholes? Do you have any idea where this originated? Alright, so when we're talking about mirrors and portals, this is really mirror scrying, or scrying in general, but the use of mirrors. And this really is referring to scrying into a reflective surface. And it is called, I had to get the proper word, catoptromancy, also known as captromancy or enetromancy. Yeah, it's one of the more difficult mancy words. So, catoptromancy actually is from the ancient Greek and means mirror, or the catoptron means mirror, and manteia means divination. That's where the word originates from anyway. And where it comes from, where it originates, I don't think we can really actually say. It was found in ancient Greeks, in ancient Rome, Egypt, China, India. It's even, let's just have a look here, in the Mahabharata, which is Hindu epic poem in Hindu mythology. It's the hero Yudhishthira, or his other name was, let me just grab that, Dharmaraja. He uses a mirror to see into the future and learn about his upcoming battle. So it's a very, very old practice. And when we think of mirrors, we're usually talking about a piece of glass with a reflective backing. Normally it was a silver oxide backing. Sorry, I'm forgetting the terminology now. Quite often it was polished metal mirrors. Polished to a degree where you could actually see your own reflection in the metal itself. In some cases it would have been obsidian, which has a very reflective surface, and therefore it was used as a mirror, a scrying mirror. But I think we could probably even go to using a pool of water, and a still pool of water, especially at night time, when it's dark. It has a very reflective surface, and this was used as a scrying method as well. Scrying into a pool of water which has the full moon reflecting into it. It's a whole tradition. So this is a very old thing, but in reference to portals, when we are doing scrying, we could probably break this down into two aspects. One is to receive, and the other one is to enter into. When we normally talk about scrying, we're talking about gazing into a reflective surface in order to receive answers to questions, images, impressions, the divination aspect of it. But at the same time, we can open up the mirror as a portal in order to walk through it, or to, again, it's receiving something. So when we're using a mirror as a portal, as a scrying device, we are opening up as a portal, and therefore things are coming through, information is coming through, images are coming through. But in other cases, it is actually moving into another world. Quite often, this is not using a mirror. We can use an image, a picture, a tarot card, and use that as a portal or a gateway, walking in the spirit vision and things like that. So, I think it depends on what we're actually referring to here. Same thing, really. I mean, no matter what you're doing, you are opening up something. You are opening up a doorway, a gateway, a portal, in which you can receive or transfer into. So why are mirrors seen as portals? Probably mostly because of their reflective aspect. They're reflecting the unseen, and showing the unseen. And when we're actually moving into a portal in regards to a mirror, it's usually in reference to a dark mirror. And this kind of becomes, although you can see your own reflection in a dark mirror, it's not as sharp, it's very muted. And this kind of allows things to then shift and morph a lot easier into things which are unseen. And therefore you are opening up the mirror as a portal, so to speak, and then bringing the unseen through to you. And it doesn't need to be a mirror, it can be a bowl of water. One method I like is to take a black bowl, fill it with water, and put it on the floor. And what's actually also great is if you can hide a tea light underneath it, if you can lift up the bowl of water or the container of water, and then put a tea light underneath it, it allows a glow around the actual bowl itself, and it becomes this hole, this literally like a black hole that you gaze into, and as you're gazing into, you almost fall into it, you get sucked into it, which again is probably why they're also seen as portals, because you fall into this blackness, into the black hole, so to speak, and then you can move into the unknown worlds, and such things. The first time I went through particular training to actually walk into a mirror. And when I say walk into a mirror, you don't physically walk into the mirror, you stand in front of the mirror. It was a full-length mirror. And you stand in front of it, and then you project your second body, your astral body, into the actual mirror. So you step astrally into the mirror, not physically, obviously. And it's just a way of journeying. In other practices, you might find a hole in the ground that you step into, that you move into, that you fall into. Think of Alice in Wonderland that falls down the rabbit hole, and goes through the looking glass. All of those things. Alice in Wonderland is actually a perfect example of astral journeying in a variety of different ways. So definitely go read Alice in Wonderland again, or The Adventures of Alice in Wonderland. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but hopefully it does, and I'm going to continue then. So the next one was quite a long one, so I'm not going to put it on the screen. I'm just going to call it up here and read sections of it, because it's not all relevant. It was from Oral Sensations, and it's in reference to one that I answered previously about gate opening. There was this part. It's what I was attempting to ask was, when it comes time to close the gates and ending on working, should the spirits that were called be sent back before closing the gates, or if it was better to just let them decide if they wanted to leave or stay and simply thank them and close the gates? In reference to that, no, you absolutely do it yourself. You don't leave it up to them. You are in control of the working you are doing. Therefore, you are the one who called them there, you are the one who sends them back. You don't leave it up to them. In some workings, you want to allow that energy to remain. It could be in reference to something like Bhakti Yoga, where you are pulling in the energy, you are imbuing that energy around you and in you to become it, become the God form type of thing. And you want to carry that through for several days maybe, because it's a project you are busy working on. Then you would keep the energy, but that's again, it's your working. You are being in control of that working itself. But if you call in the spirits, you then send them back. It's really as simple as that. And by sending them back, by saying thank you for being here, I now wish you hail and farewell, and you give them that license to depart, then you are sending them away and you're closing the gates. It's part of the process. You open the gate. You open the gates by simply just calling them and asking them to come and join you in your space and in your working. You close the gates by sending them back and thanking them, etc. Then there was some further questions in this. Let me just get to them. How might one find out or determine who exactly their matron and or patron might be? I find that it's a question and concept that has come up many times for me recently, but has yet to be answered. There isn't really a definitive answer here. Some people will use astrological methods to determine their matron and patron. Quite often that is having a look at your birth chart and seeing which element is the more prominent, and then going and looking which specific, this is within demonology usually that I've found this, and then going to find out which demon or spirit is, or assigned to that particular element, and then reaching out to several of them that you feel connection to, and going through that whole process. My own suggestion would be to reach out to a spirit, a god, goddess, angel, demon, etc., that you feel particularly connected to, that you feel drawn to, and start working with them. And at some stage, if they are your matron or patron, they'll let you know. It's kind of that simple. It really is the best method, and I don't think it's this whole idea of going to find your matron or patron. It's not an absolute necessity. You don't have to go. It's not a part of your growth. If they come to you and say, "I am X, Y, Z," and look for, it's not a qualification of being on the path, on the magical path itself. There's a variety of different methods that people use. My own suggestion is to just work with various spirits and find that connection, build those relationships that you should be doing anyway, regardless of whether they are matron or patron, and go from there. And at some stage, they'll let you know. The interesting thing I find here is that the word matron actually refers to, let's actually find the definition. So I'm going to go bright because my screen's going to be bright now. The actual definition of matron and patron. Matron is actually a nurse. Let's just have a look here. I'm not really sure why people actually use these words. Matron in British, a woman in charge of domestic and medical arrangements at a boarding school or other institution. The woman in charge of the nursing in a hospital in the US is a female prison officer. 2, an older married woman, especially one who is staid or dignified. So yeah, there's that. And then patron. Let's see what patron definition is. A person who gives financial or other support to a person, organization, or cause, a customer or a shop, restaurant, etc., especially a regular one. I'm really not sure. Yeah, patron is usually in reference to a shop or a restaurant. Matron is usually in reference to a church. Oh, sorry, not church, a nurse in church. So I'm really, honestly, not sure why people actually use the terms matron and patron for these. I myself use which father and which mother. So it makes more sense to me, really. But I don't think it's a qualifying thing. You don't have to have this matron and patron in order to qualify yourself to be on the path itself. Your other question was, can one have multiple matrons spanning the various different pantheons, etc.? I wouldn't say so, no. In that regard, you're just working with multiple spirits. Your patron and matron, or your witch mother and your witch father, are usually the entities, the beings that stick with you for your whole life. And I personally find that they kind of stay in the background and they kind of guide things for you. A lot of people will work personally with them. A lot of people will work only with them and no other spirits. So it depends on you. It's a personal thing again. But it's a bit like saying that you have a mother and father in all different pantheons. It's not really going to be very practical. I don't think it's going to work very well. And if you're a hard polytheist, that's going to be very difficult. If you're a soft polytheist, there could be some ways around that, because then you may be seeing spirits from different pantheons having an overlapping aspect to them, and a lot of soft polytheists refer to different spirits from different pantheons as being the same entity, just named differently in different regions. So again, comes down to who you are and what you believe yourself. But multiple, probably not. It's like having more than one mother and father. We can have that, but it gets a bit impractical at times. But what you'll probably find is that you work with a lot of spirits, but those other spirits are there to teach you, to guide you, to help you, and then they come in and they leave, and they come in and they leave, they come in and they leave, and they keep, transferring and moving around and changing, and it's not the mother and the father aspect. Alright, so I think that answers that one. So let's go on to the next one. Right, this is from, I'm going to have to make this larger to try and read that. User dash BV5RH4RP8E. Don't panic, I will tag you. Are there magical tools I can give to these daemons as gifts and offerings? How do we make sure to close portals after we have worked with daemons? And how do we respectfully communicate to gatekeepers? Okay, so first question, are there magical tools you can give to them? Yeah, absolutely. In this case, what you'll probably be doing is dedicating the tools to them. So you can take like a spirit board and dedicate that spirit board to Delabatore, for instance. You may take a dagger or an athame, dedicate that to a particular spirit. You may take a sword and dedicate that to maybe a warring spirit or something like that. It's more of a dedication. Taking a tool and giving it to the spirit and offering it to the spirit in the form of a dedication. You offer this particular tool to them, and you use it within rituals that invoke them. Next part of that question, how do we make sure to close portals after we've worked with daemons? Really just answered that. If you are opening a gate in a more formal fashion, where you are In the fashion of of S. Connolly's method, where you actually call the gatekeeper, which you're referring to here. You basically just do the reverse of what you did when you opened it. So if you're ripping it from top to bottom and then opening it like this, you close it like this, and you close it from bottom to top. So really, it's doing the reverse of what you did when you opened the portal to begin with. Having said that, if you know how to open a portal, you should know how to close a portal. It comes with the instruction booklet type of thing. I don't think any instructions that tell you how to open a portal are not going to come with the instructions on how to close the portal. And then how do we respectfully communicate to gatekeepers? The same way you would communicate with any spirit, because they are a spirit. You talk to them. You respectfully just communicate with them. Talk to them. Say hello. Thank you very much. Have your manners. It's not really much different than that. They are spirits, the same as all the other spirits you're working with, the same as what you might be walking through the portal to go and meet, or bringing their energy in to help you with your own work. They're really just daemons at the end of the day. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question, which is from God King Cthulhu, 138. How to break a curse or binding spell if you haven't already done that one. I haven't done that one. It's again, well, very similar to the gate opening and gate closing. You just do the reverse. Quite often we don't know what that was, because if somebody put a hex or a curse or a binding spell on us, then we don't know what method they used. In which case you can simply... This type of work is usually sympathetic magic, so they would have probably been taking a tag log and probably doing something which is within sympathy. Puppet work, for instance, is taking an effigy of you, the person, and kind of tying that to you in a sympathetic manner, and therefore whatever is done to the effigy is done to you, sympathetic magic. So what you could do is take something which would represent the curse itself and then break it, smash it, destroy it. If it's a binding spell, you can bind something up and then unbind it, so you're actually reversing it. If you know what the person did, then what you can do is replicate that and then just reverse what they did. So you would create what they ended up with, and then you just undo the thing. So if it is a binding, you're going to wrap something up usually, and then all you do is just unwind the binding itself, and picture yourself being released from this particular energy. It's usually in regard to sympathetic magic. So you would take something that represents the magic itself and unwind, unbind, smash, destroy, remove. Rather than creating the hex, you are destroying the hex type of thing. It's really quite as simple as that. And if you also bear in mind, if somebody did use tag locks of yours, whether it's hair, whatever it might be, you then have an energetic connection to that tag lock, and you can actually do a reverse, a counter curse, because they are, unless they've taken the tag lock, added something, and sent it off somewhere, there's probably still some kind of energetic connection. But if they actually have kept that object, that thing that they have created in sympathy to the magic, then you can actually work through the tag lock and do a counter attack or counter curse on them. This is why, if you like to keep tag locks of people, you are basically keeping them in your own home, and they can do whatever they want to you. So bear that in mind. you don't always want to keep tag locks of people. Alright, I think I'm going to leave that there today, and we will come back to more next week. And as I said, if you have any questions or anything you want a perspective on, anything like that, then just leave it in the comments below to one of the Ask Lee videos, Ask Uncle Lee videos, and I will put it on the list. And I just realised I didn't put my hat on. I do apologise for that. Some people are going to be moaning at me now. I'll remember it next week. Okay. Have a good one for now. Cheers. Bye bye.